we're going to move on with the show. And to begin, actually, we welcome Rob van den Dam, Global Telecom Industry Leader at IBM. He's about to share with us, actually, an exclusive survey that IBM has conducted worldwide, and the main purpose of it is, if you just move center stage, you'll be safe. Let me give you that clicker. And actually, Rob, you're about to tell us about the fact that vertical industries are really racing to digitize. So what have you got in mind? You're welcome, and I will just need some sound for Rob so that we can be heard loud and clear. Still not. I'm going to ask the régie to please unmute Rob's mic.
One. Yes, I hear that now. Merci beaucoup, Marjorie.
You're welcome.
Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Welcome, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I'm always surprised each year that EDAT managed to get an audience like this here at this event. What I'm going to do is I will share with you the result of our C-suite survey that we actually just completed, just launched this week. And I just have this report in a hard copy form, but the ink is just wet. I just had it this Monday. But before I share this information with you, let's start with a video. I do not hear
the ultimate destination.
It's starting to change the way entire industries are thinking.
If you focus only on the thing that you know, you will miss the thing that's coming at you on the left-hand side or the right-hand side.
You have to be willing to be disruptive.
So you have to make big strategic bets. Is my strategy ambitious enough?
How does that happen today?
How do I actually execute?
So actually this video is setting the scene, the scene for the study, the scene for this event, the scene actually what is happening in the industry and actually in the world. And you heard a number of words. You heard digital, you heard disruption, you heard competitors coming from the right, coming from the left, coming from nowhere. Maybe you have to look at your neighbor. Maybe you don't know him yet, but maybe tomorrow he will be your new competitor. And actually, what we gave the title, Redefining Boundaries, to our study. And why we did that is we did that for a reason. Because actually what you see happening in the industries, you see the industry boundaries, you see them changing, you see them blurring, collapsing, and really at an unprecedented rate. And well, the theme of this study, and we talked with more than 5,000 executives from different industries, is actually that everyone has to reinvent themselves. So we call that digital reinvention. It's not about transformation, it's really about digital reinvention. So actually what we did is we surveyed what you can see here, 5,247 business leaders. Those were in 6 C-suite roles: the CEO, the CIO, the CFO, the CMO, the CHRO, and the Chief Operating Officer. And we did that in 70 countries. So what I will do in my presentation is, because we have a lot of telecom representatives, I will show you a lot of data sets cross-industry, but also some for the telecommunication industry. And because the team is also China, also some China data. And we had about 295 telecom executive interviews and about 195 from China. So actually why we did this study, and we do this study every 2 years. But this time, what is putting the world's top executive on edge? So what is keeping them awake? What is making them nervous? Well, actually, what is making them nervous is they see more competitors coming from outside the industry. It's not so more the traditional competitors anymore, but they expect in the coming 3 to 5 years more competitors from outside the industry. And here you see this figure cross-industry. More than half said that they expect competitors coming from outside the industry. And well, you see at the bottom, we see a quote. It's a quote from the CMO from a hotel business in the Emirates. And he said, "We used to look at the Four Seasons as a competitor. Now we look at disruptors like Airbnb." Well, we have Airbnb, I think, in the panel. I think we have also Booking.com.
We'll hear
in
from
there.
Airbnb in a few years.
Yeah. So, well, maybe we can discuss that. But that is really making them nervous. And more than a half is already a lot. But if you look, for instance, to specific industry, for instance, the telecommunication industry, more than 3/4, they expect competitors from outside the industry. And you can expect that from the telecommunication industry, because if you look to what is already happening in the last years, we have WhatsApp, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Skype, suddenly coming out of nothing, really disrupting the telecommunication industry fundamentally. If we, and we have many more there. If we look at China, it's also almost 70%. Of course, we have their equivalents, like for WhatsApp, they have WeChat, and for Twitter, they have Weibo, but they also have Alibaba and Tencent. And, well, yesterday we talked also about Uber, but also in China, they have their Uber. So if you go to Shanghai or to Beijing, you can also get transportation in the same way as Uber provided you in a lot of other Western countries. Now, maybe for a number of industries, that figure is lower, and maybe they do not expect at this moment so many competitors from outside the industry. But actually, no industry will be spared. Every industry will be, let's say, impacted by the Uber syndrome. And how the Uber syndrome is actually, how you can define that is a quote from one of our people that we interviewed. Judy Lemke, she is the CIO of an international trucker company. And actually what he said is the Uber syndrome is where a competitor with a completely different business model enters your industry and flattens you. So flattens you as if this 16-wheel truck hits you when you are crossing the highway. And I think you are rather flat at that moment. So let me first start with some key messages from the study. First, prepare for the digital invaders. Well, we already discussed that. The CXOs, they are, of course, they still have their traditional competitors, but they still be more afraid of the non-traditional competitors. And in particular, the one that that comes in your industry with a completely new business model out of nothing. The small disruptors in the beginning, they are very agile, they are very fast-moving. Often they do not have even an infrastructure or means like Uber. They do not have really taxis or cabs. And we call them the ankle biters, because they take a part of your flesh from your ankle without that you know it. Then it's already too late. So those disruptors, they are really fundamentally changing the industry. So you have to prepare for that. You have the notion of having a panoramic perspective. So actually what it means, everything is changing very fast. Of course, you get many disruptors. Technology is changing very fast. The ecosystems are very fast. So you must have your scouts at the horizon to see how ecosystems are evolving. You have to recognize that no single companies, they have all the required capabilities to be successful in the digital disruptive global economy. So you have to prepare for that. And well, you have to be the first, you have to be amongst the first mover, or you have to be the best, or be nowhere. Because actually what is really happening is, while these boundaries are really blurring, is that also the profit pools are morphing, are changing. So where the profit is today is not where the profit will be tomorrow. So actually what you see, well, this digitization is happening, is that, well, the profit pools are consolidating, and if you are not in the top 2, in the top 3, maybe in the top 4, you will see, unless you have an industry where you have some regulatory barriers, that the industries will become oligopolistic. So actually, it means you really have to be by the best, the first, or otherwise you will see that the profit have evaporated for you. So let's start with some data. What you see on this slide is, well, we talk about blurring boundaries, we talked about industry convergence. Well, actually, this is also what the CXOs told us, what is actually the key trend, that is what they see in the industry. And maybe what is really surprising is that it is not only the CEO or the CFO, they put it high on the ranking, but those are all the business lines that said, well, that is something what is happening in our industry. What maybe is a little bit surprising also, that what you see, the sharing economy, and well, I'm happy that Jimmy Wills is not here at this moment, because otherwise he will be frustrated. But the sharing economy is actually almost at the bottom at this moment. Well, we do this study every 2 years, so I expect that it will go higher up in this stack. And in some industries, the sharing economy, sharing knowledge, even sharing physical means is actually already the core business, but that will go up. So we will see how that will play out in the coming years. But let's now combine, this is the cross-industry view, so let's see how it is for telecom. Actually, what you see is what the telecom executive said is a little bit more pronounced. You see that industry convergence is very important for them, more important than the cross-industry. You see that at the top. Well, that is because all the things what I just explained. You see also the anywhere workplace is more important for the telecommunication industry. That has all to do with enterprise mobility and bringing the, let's say, the work to the place where it's done. So imagine that a field worker has to do something at a certain location, and they want to have on their tablet all the information that they need to do the work. So to have the complete enterprise, for instance, at the tablet. So it's important that telecom plays a key role there. And of course, the rising cyber risk. Well, we know everything what happened in the post-Snowden period. You read in the newspaper every day about DDoS attacks, about issues with data privacy. So, and telecom providers are still the providers that consumers really trust their data to, more than for other providers. So it's a key issue for them. And then look at China. What you really see is, well, industry convergence, and I explained that before, is very important. But all the things seem to be less a trend in China, including cyber risk and anywhere workplace. So here you see a little bit the differences between cross-industry and telecommunication and China. We ask the executives, what are the external forces that are really impacting your industry, that has really big impact? And actually, for the first time, cross-industry, we see that technology factors are #1. And with #1, I mean for all the business lines. So it's not only important for the CTO, not for the CIO, but it is important for all the lines of business, because they have to leverage technology really to master the, let's say, the digital reinvention game, and to master the forces to actually to rethink their business models. So if you do not master technology, probably you will be left behind. And then let's already compare the different external factors for telecom and China. You see the technology factors are even more important for the telecommunication industry. Well, you can imagine that with the smartphones and the tablets, and of course over-the-top providers, what they really can do, but also a lot of other technologies. It's very important. So and actually you can say the telecommunication industry actually is a technology industry. But what you also see, what is very different, is the regulatory concerns. So that it has really a big impact on the industry. If you think about what regulatory can do in the context of broadband plans, spectrum acquisition, think about issues, or let's say directives in the context of data privacy. All these kinds of things has an impact on the industry. If we talk about technology in the context of telecommunications, Actually, what we also ask them in a separate survey is, what are really the industries that you really think, what you really think is important at this moment? And what they said, well, number one is security solutions. And actually, for the reasons that I just explained. Number two is big data. Of course, they want to use big data to leverage that, to understand customers better, to get better customer experience, maybe for operational efficiency, maybe to get more revenue. Mobile payments, well, I think in particular in France, there's a lot of happening in the context of payments. Spectrum efficiency, think about moving from 3G to 4G to 5G and so on. And cloud, of course, is very important. And then we ask them, what do you think are the key technologies in 3, 4, 5 years, in 2020? And then you see maybe some surprising effects. Actually, what they say, what is in 2020, what becomes very important is cognitive. Cognitive to get, let's say, a deeper contextual insight of the information about our customers and for a lot of other reasons. So that is a key technology for 2020. It's eSIM and virtual SIMs, what really has an impact on the telecommunication industry. It's virtualization, so it has to do with software-defined networks. It has to do with network function virtualization. So really not only for cost reduction, but also to be more flexible and to bring services faster to the market. It's Internet of Things. It's also energy savings, because with respect to the operational costs, 75% of the cost is coming from the network energy. So, and actually what you see is, and I will come in the next slide to the group of participants that are really excelling. What you really see, if you want to be a leader, they are already looking to the technology that are coming, and not the industries that are important right at this moment, because all the competitors are doing that. So they take the risk to look at the emerging energies. So actually what we did is, well, we had that more than 5,000 participants, and actually what we tried to find out is the small group of participants that excel in two ways. Excel in the way that they are really leading innovators, but also that they excel in financial performance. And when we talk about financial performance, we looked at, in the last 5 years, that in terms of sales, revenue, and profit. And we found that 5% of the total population are really what we call the torchbearers. So those are the athletes that are very good and are walking in front at the Olympic Games, and they are really the best. So we tried to find out what they really did, and we compare them to the market followers. One of the things what torchbearers did better, they are better placed to take on the disruptors. So they have greater focus on the new markets. So they really look for opportunities in adjacent markets. What they actually did is, for instance, they stripped out bureaucracy because they have to move swiftly. It doesn't really mean actually that they are just copying the disruptors, those digital players, because they cannot do that. They are established companies, so that they cannot just throw overboard their brand. They have their legacy systems. They have a duty to their shareholders. But at least they have a kind of a sense that they should be very fast in swifting the battleground. Cognitive computing. They are better in leveraging analytics, and increasingly cognitive analytics, machine learning capabilities. Really to leverage that, to use that in each decision, in each process, in each part of the organization. Really to empower the employees to, to move from gut-based decisions to analyze-based, cognitive-grounded decisions. So that is where they're doing better. And they also focus more on more decentralized decision-making. So really let employees make the decision where and when it is needed. We have a quote there from a CHRO from Japan, and said, Well, we need to change the way we make decisions. If we empower our employees more and more, we shall be able to accelerate the speed at which we do business. And if I already explained, and what will also come out of the rest of the slides, is speed is very important. Another thing is that torchbearers are far more concerned with preparing to change how they go to market. In particular, focusing on the revenue model. They are really focusing on not so much on having better products, of course, that's also very important, but that is actually what you do in the context of traditional competitors. So if a traditional competitor comes in, if you have to deal with that, maybe you make your product better, maybe you lower the price or you do something else. But if you really want to fight the disruptors, you have to do something with the revenue model. You have to find new sources of revenue in that context. They also more focus on new customers, new customer segments in new markets. So not as the market followers are just, you can say, rest on their laurels just to focus on the existing customers. No, they are really focusing on new customers, new customer segments in new markets. And then we talk about the revenue model. Why it's very important is that is the way how you really can increase your revenue significantly, how you also can increase your market valuation. So this is actually a quote from a chief marketing officer from a transportation company in the United States. Uber has a market cap that exceeds the market cap of all the car rental companies combined, and it's only an app. So you can say that all those other companies, they have their products, but this is only an app. Uber do not have caps. If you think about the telecommunication industry, if you add all the 15 largest internet category players together, and you calculate the market value, it's half of the 100 largest telecom providers. The telecom providers did 100 years about it. And the internet category players, they did only 10, maybe 15 years about it. So the business model is extremely important. Torchbearers are also more likely to have deployed already more future-oriented business models. So with respect to business models, you can think about freemium, or maybe being an integrator, or maybe, let's say, a razor and blade model. But actually, the torchbearers are more focusing on an open ecosystem or a platform. And they do that because it really enables them to collaborate more, to be more flexible, and partnering in ecosystems, or maybe in a platform is very key to operate in this digital disruptive global economy. And what is very important is when you launch a new business model, you have to be amongst the first. You see that they have a preference to reach the market first. So one of the things that is key is actually you have to come with you can say, a minimum viable product to the market as fast as possible, and then learn from the feedback that you get from the market or from the customers, and make the innovation and grow in the innovation stack. So actually, it's just what Francois said in the beginning, and what Jimmy Will said in the beginning. It's a kind of culture also to accept failures, because sometimes it didn't work, and then you have to throw it away and to start something else. But that's the only way to do fast and to really to get the information from the market. So I am almost to the end of the presentation. I think everything has to do with scope, skill, and speed. Scope, it means that what the torchbearers are doing is they are searching for opportunities, exploring opportunities in other markets. It has to do with skill, so it means that you must take the risk to really look in and to invest in emerging technologies, and maybe also to scale your expertise. And everything also has to do with speed. So what torchbearers are really doing is they understand that they have to develop their products or services very fast, and go with that service they run to the finishing line, because they really understand that if they really have to be one of the first, or maybe the first, ahead of the competition to really dominate that market. What we will do in the coming months, so we have this document, and which is a cross-role document. So, but what we also will develop is we will analyze the responses from the CEO, the CFO, the CHRO, the CIO, and the CMO, and the Chief Operating Officer, and trying to find out what they are telling us, and what comes out of it, what actually they should do to be successful in this digital, disruptive global economy. So that is what you can expect in the coming months. Well, here I am at the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening to that. I don't think we have questions at this moment, because I think we go to the panel.
You were talking about the finish line. We do have a finish line too.
Yes. So I will be at this event this 2 days, so you can come to me. And otherwise, you can always email me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rob.